Hi everybody, how are we all doing? I'm going to talk a wee bit about nutrition today. Fuse is funded by BBC Children in Need, and we get this funding to deliver a programme called the Power Up programme. And I'm in a really fortunate position today because I'm able to talk about this basically on the World Wide Web through the game page. The bit about nutrition I want to talk about is the Eatwell guide. The Eatwell Plate is a very colourful plate that you can see over here that's brought to us by the government, and it shows us the proportion of each type of food that we need to have a healthy balanced diet. If you look at it up here, you'll see it's split up into 5 different sections. Each section has got a different colour, and you might notice that each section's a different size. Well, that is except for the green and the yellow section. You'll notice that these are both the same size, and these also belong to the same food group, and that's the food group known as carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are really important for us to eat in our diets. We need carbohydrates as our essential and primary source of fuel. For any young people whose mum and dads drive a car, they have to put petrol or diesel into the car. And that's the thing that makes the car run, that's the energy that makes the car run. Well, carbohydrates are our energy, and that's what makes us run. We need that to do things like walking, running, sleeping, breathing, talking, like I'm doing just now, exercise. So everything that you do for the minute, I was going to say for the minute you get up out your bed, basically while you are breathing, is being supplied by energy, which mainly comes from carbohydrates. So that's why it's important to get these in our diet. And these come from, we'll start off with the green section over here. The green section is your things like apples, bananas, pears, cucumbers, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, many different types of fruits and veg. And the government suggests that we should eat at least 5 portions of fruit or veg every day. It's important to get these into your diet either through fresh, which is always the best way to eat your fruit and veg. But if you can't have fresh just now, especially just now through lockdown, you might have some in the freezer. That's also really healthy to eat because you're still going to get your fibre and you're still going to get your vitamins from them. And sometimes you might even have a wee can of fruit or some cans of peas in the cupboard. They're equally okay as one of your sources of fruit and veg every day. The other section of the carbohydrates over here is the yellow section, which is your starchier carbohydrates. So things like bread, pasta, rice, noodles, potatoes. These are all your starchier carbohydrates. And as you noticed, these are the 2 big sections on the plate, so they are very important to have that proportion in your diet in the whole day. If you're going to eat breads and pastas, it's better to try and choose the variety that is like whole grain, so your brown breads, brown pastas, brown rice. And the reason for that is anybody ever eaten like a big bowl of pasta? And it feels great and it's lovely, and then half an hour later you kind of hit that sleepy slump, your eyes feel heavy. That's because when you ate the pasta, the energy that came from the pasta spiked away up here, and then you took a sharp dip that meant you felt that kind of drowsy. When you eat the whole grain varieties, it tends to slowly release the energy into your cells over the course of the day, supplying it with a constant source of energy as opposed to that big spike. Moving on to the next section of the plate is our pink section, and this is the food group known as proteins. These are things like chicken, beef, pork, so that's your meats, fish, eggs, beans, pulses. Particularly if you are vegetarian or vegan, you won't be eating meat, so you would tend to try and get your protein from these other sources that are known as the beans and the pulses. Protein is essential to our bodies. You know, I was talking about the walking, the running, any kind of exercise that you're doing, and sometimes you do that, you might get like 2 days later you might be feeling your muscles a wee bit sore. So protein's one of those food groups that helps to repair the muscles that you've damaged during the exercise. Also, if you are a young person who has still got a lot of growing to do, protein. The next section of the plate we have here is the blue section, and this is known as the food groups of fats. And in this blue section here we have the fats that are your dairy products like cheese, milk, and yogurts. Fat is essential to our bodies for energy as well, but fat's really important to absorb some of the vitamins that we get from our fruits and veg and other foods. And the last section of the plate is the very, very tiny section you see over here, which is the purple section. And this is there because we don't really need as much of that type of food in our diets. So that's things like, and these are fats as well, like your oils and your spreads. Because these types of oils and spreads, we don't really need them, but they're helpful for cooking. So you would be frying an egg in oil, but the oil's not necessarily healthy, but it's recognised that you'll have a wee bit of that in your diet. And you've also got like the spreads that go into your sandwiches. So you don't need as much of that in your diet every day. So these are the tiniest wee bit of the Eatwell plate. So you've just seen the Eatwell plate there. Over and above the Eatwell plate, the government recommend that we drink 6 to about 8 glasses of fluid every day. So things like water, that's your best form of fluid that you can drink, or low fat milk, low sugar or no sugar drinks, like your juices. The food that I would like to talk about is the things that are high in fat, sugars and salt. These should just be used as occasional treats, because if you eat too much of any of these types of food, it can lead to unwanted weight gain. Anything too high in sugar can lead to tooth decay and dental pain, and we don't want that, do we? So keep these for treats. And just before I go, check the labels on foods. This can help you to choose wisely before you buy. So you can see the nutritional info on the back of some of the tins and packets, and that will let you know whether a food is low in sugar, fat or salts. And there's also some of the foods that have the wee traffic light system, just like this one here, the red and the amber green. Green usually means when something's low, so if it were you were looking for something low in sugar, and the sugar part of this wee sticker here is in green, then that means that that's low. If it were in red, that would mean it was high. And it's the same for the salts, and it's the same for fats. So that was a quick overview. What's left for me to do is to thank you for watching the video and leave you with some questions. Now the questions are just, well, the answers will be in the video, so feel free to watch the video back again so that you can answer these questions. If you have the answer, remember to put it in a private message on the game Facebook page or the game Instagram page. Don't show everybody else your answers. Now, I'll give you 20 points for attempting each of these. If you answer all the questions correctly, you will get 50 points. So I've got 5 questions, starting with question number 1. The green section represents a type of carbohydrate, but can you tell me which one? Question number 2. How many portions of fruit and veg should we aim to eat each day? Question number 3. What colour is the smallest section in the Eatwell plate? Question number 4. What type of food is in the smallest section of the Eatwell plate? Question number 5, and the last question is, the green and yellow sections are the biggest in the Eatwell plate. And this is because A, these are nicer colours, or is it B, this is the proportion of this type of food that we should eat each day. Remember, submit your answers in a private message to either the Facebook or the Instagram game page. 20 points for attempting to answer, and 50 points if you get them all correct. Thanks for watching. Look out for episode 2. Bye.